What's up, YouTube? Brett Hoover from Rants here. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. All right, so the Cowboy Bebop live action Netflix series didn't do too well. Overall, critics' rating on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 48%. Fans, audience score a 54%. But my question to you is, could it have actually been better? Could it have been saved? Um, and I would say yes, it could have. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that says, well, there's no way you could take an anime like Cowboy Bebop and make a live action adaptation. And to those people, I would say that's what they used to say about Lord of the Rings, and look how that turned out. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's going to have the full magic of the original. It's not going to go scene by scene. It's not going to have, the cool little aspects that maybe the anime could pull off that a live action couldn't, because it would seem a little too cheesy. There was a lot of um, of people out there that I think wanted it to be exactly and totally like the anime. And I totally get that as a fan. I really understand that. But it's just not, in this day and age, realistic to expect that. Now, as a Harry Potter fan, I had that huge problem when it come to the movies. I felt like, there's some scenes in there that just drive me crazy because it was so completely different when it was in the books. So, I'm coming at it from a fan perspective. I understand where you're coming from. The fans that are out there that absolutely despise it. Now, I'm very fervent on this one aspect. It's either you go all in on the original source material, or either you do something completely and totally different. Cowboy Bebop, I felt like three-fourths of the way tried to be completely and totally different. From the way the characters acted to the way they were portrayed to just kind of some of the direction that it was going altogether. I feel like about three-fourths of it was going in a new direction. If they would have gone all the way in a new direction, I don't think it would have been hated on quite as much. And I say that simply because I felt like John Cho did an excellent job at being Spike Spiegel. I felt like he did what was needed to bring that character, to make it his own. And it was a likable character. It was a fun character to watch on screen. Now, I felt like other characters like Daniela Pineda, I felt like Faye Valentine just annoyed the crap out of me at times. So I understand my fan. I mean, she was completely different than the Faye Valentine that was in the anime. So I totally get it to a certain extent of where they took that, they went in a direction that they really shouldn't have. And she did try to make it her own, but it didn't work in her favor, unlike what I thought it did with John Cho. But that being said, uh, either go by the source material, or either, go all in on something brand new and different. But hey, like I said, I totally get it. Fans of Cowboy Bebop anime would not recognize any of these characters. They just wouldn't. I mean, there was so much different with their personalities and who they were, and what was their inner workings was so different. Now, as far as things that I felt like could have changed, that would have changed maybe the whole dynamic of this series, of season one, I guess, is I felt like Spike Spiegel and Vicious. The episode where you had Spike Spiegel and Vicious backstory, that could have, if they would have pulled that off right, because there was moments of it that I was like, okay, I actually kind of feel for Vicious in a certain way. Like, he really did truly care about Spike in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, there was aspects of it that kind of pulled at my heartstrings, But then at the same time, I felt like Alec Hassel's intent on just going full villain, um, and really just just loathing everything that Spike was, and not really having any redemption qualities in him really hurt. It really changed the narrative of what that episode could have been and what the next episode after that could have been when it come to the ending. I felt like the ending of it, just carried on with what the flashback episode showed, simply by showing Vicious as just a heartless monster and Spike as the protagonist that has done bad things but has a heart of gold. How many times have you seen that in a series? It kind of gets old to me. I don't like my protagonists and my antagonists in black and white. I like them in gray areas. That's where I feel like these characters would have done perfect in and would have maybe changed the whole dynamic of what this Netflix series was if they would have kept those characters more in a gray area, especially Vicious. I think that would have completely changed everything. Now, another thing I absolutely liked was how Julia reacted at the very end. That was something that I wasn't necessarily expecting. It caught me off guard. I wish that there would have been a little bit more dialogue in that last episode that really could have just made it hurt. Like, just really hurt Spike by her change. Where maybe he even had to make a choice about her. About, hey, do I take her down or do I let her live? Those kind of choices really sometimes make or break a series. And I felt like that was one of those moments that it broke because it didn't it didn't pull on those heartstrings. It didn't give him a choice in the matter of what he had to do as a character, whether he had to do the right thing, whether he had to do the wrong things because he loved her so much. Those are aspects that I felt like would have completely changed the whole dynamic, not just that episode, but that series as well. Because I mean, I liked what they did with Julia. I really did. I wish that I wish that Jet, Spike, Vicious, and Julia, that last episode had better dialogue. And that's one thing that I've actually had problems with this series. Is sometimes the dialogue is just really hard to listen to. It feels like, especially when it's Spike and Jet, it feels like a bunch of inside jokes that you really don't get simply because they don't tell you enough about it. They give you hints, but not really enough where that you kind of are like, it's an inside joke to them. Sometimes that works in anime. Sometimes it doesn't, or it rarely works in live action unless you give more detail to it. Now, another thing, I talked about the flashback episode where I thought it could be saved. But those little hints of flashbacks all throughout from episode 1 all the way to like episode 8 of, showing Spike being shot by Vicious, I felt like those were not appropriate. They didn't fit well in there. They kind of were wasted scenes in a lot of ways. The idea that Spike didn't wrestle with telling maybe Jet who he really truly was. I felt like they could have maybe done that in a more creative way where it was more of a struggle to him. I felt like all these, just these little things like that would have maybe changed how that all turned out. Um, because look, there was some good moments. Look, Jet with his daughter, that was brilliant moments. Those were heartbreaking moments that did work. I'm glad that they showed that. That's why I say the show wasn't a complete and total disaster for me. There was aspects I did actually enjoy about it. I just wish that those little things, maybe going either if they're going to go three-fourths in on a completely different narrative, characters and things like that than what the anime was, go all in. I wish they would have done that. I wish they wouldn't have done so many of these little flashbacks that didn't work all the way up to episode 8. I wish that they would have kept Vicious and Spike more in gray areas instead of just doing the whole antagonist that is just fully evil, and then the protagonist that is of course good. They didn't do that with these characters, and I felt like that really hurt altogether. And they didn't give Spike, when it come to Julia, the choice. They didn't make him have to make a hard choice. And hard choices, whether it's a book, movie, or series, are those heart wrenching moments that fans eat up. And it did not happen in Cowboy Bebop, unfortunately. So, you know what? Overall, like I said, I didn't give this a really high grade. I thought, especially the first time I'm watching it, I thought there was a lot of boring aspects about it. I thought the dialogue really needed some work. I thought Faye Valentine was just incredibly annoying. Danielle Panetta, I thought, did a horrible job as that character. I did not like the episodes where she was just, just all about her lesbian moment. And then after that, there was these little things about where she was obsessing whether she was a boob or ass woman. Like that just, she seemed so juvenile in a lot of different ways. I didn't like the direction that they went with that. I wish they would have continued going with the femme fatale version that was in the anime. But those are just the little things that I feel like could have changed the whole narrative when it come to Cowboy Bebop. Something that maybe fans, not all fans, but some fans would have enjoyed this a lot better. I felt like that, you take, Rotten Tomatoes score, I think it would probably be more in the 60s, 70s range. Um, if you would have added those little things to this series, change those things, give it more depth to it, I felt like you could have had a lot better show. But overall, I mean, look, for season 2, there's still hope. There really is hope. They've got to change that dialogue. They really do. And they've got to realize what they are, what worked for them in season 1 and what didn't work for them. And if they do that right and they understand who they are, who these characters are, this show could actually be, I think, really good. I really do. It'll never win over the hardcore fans of Cowboy Bebop anime, but it will win over just your average fan, quite like I am when it comes to Cowboy Bebop. But as always, guys, let me know what y'all think down below. And thanks for watching. Y'all take care.